And I'll just introduce who I am to everybody here. I'm Carl Schoenthal, and I live in Scottsville, and I tag along on the Greenway with these kiddos. This is a diary of our trips over the past year, obviously with the pandemic and all the work that people working from home and schools being closed. We've taken advantage of the Greenway, as I know a lot of other people have done, and these are all shots on the Greenway. So for those that aren't aware, you can get underneath the bridge in Letchworth Park. You can cross a number of old railroad bridges, and you can see the double arch culvert from a canoe, or you can walk across the top. So we've had fun seeing it all and experiencing the Greenway this year.
Very good.
We'll get into the Trail Town program. This is an initiative that started back in 2018, and it's made up of a number of members of the Friends, as well as some partners that have jumped on to help us with this project. Initially, we first started meeting, we evaluated other Trail Town programs that were in effect, namely Kentucky, Florida, the Progress Fund in Pennsylvania, the North Country Trail, and we looked to establish partnerships with other like-minded agencies and groups, and in particular Letchworth Gateway Villages, and Nicole and her team, who will have a part of the presentation a little bit later here. It was instrumental in helping us build the capacity and the understanding of what we could do and the opportunities that were out there to look at economic developments and enhancing our trail with the ability to extend our work into the communities and look at economic development and bettering the business climate along the trail. We've done a lot of community outreach and education. We've had face-to-face meetings and on-the-ground meetings with area communities along the trail. And we've prepared and sponsored a number of grant applications. Exciting to say that we've earned a few of these, and it's helping to move our program forward. So for those that aren't aware of what a trail town is, if you look at the upper right-hand corner, there's a number of recreational uses that rely on having infrastructure and a trail system in place. A trail town is a community that's effectively close to state parks, forests, public lands, and in a region that identifies itself as a hub for recreation-oriented experiences. In the past, we probably haven't thought of the Genesee River Basin or the river watershed as a place for recreation, but it's used a lot. And there's a number of people that have found Letchworth Park. Letchworth Park was voted the top state park in the country. And as a result of that and people finding out about the resources here, our region has become a hub for recreation, hunting, bicycling, hiking, a number of things there that you see are the kinds of experiences that people are looking for. And especially during this past year, people have rediscovered what the region has to offer. Another thing about a trail town is typically it's very close to a major long distance trail. Genesee Valley Greenway being a trail that is a long distance trail. And if you think about taking a ride from Rochester to the Hinsdale southern point, you can't just do it in one day. You've got to make a plan, and you've got to really figure out how you're going to do that. And that requires knowing where the businesses and the services are along the trail. The Genesee River has become more recognized as a blueway. In Allegheny County, there are a number of put-ins and places to access the river, and there'll be more coming up over the next few years, particularly in the northern section for water recreation. The Finger Lakes Trail, in some cases, in one location actually is co-located with the Greenway, but from Letchworth Park and east and west, and it's also the North Country Trail. So hiking has become a major opportunity that can be looked at as far as a trail town experience, a recreational experience. And then we have our bicycling routes. What's important here is local capacity, commitment, and shared values. Lots of communities do have main street committees or business associations, but a lot of communities don't. So it's figuring out how do our communities that are on the trail participate in helping to improve their community and being a part of what's going on with the trail. As you saw, a lot of good work is being done in the north, but there will be a lot of good work done in the central and the south portions of the trail as well. So it takes friends, members, volunteers, park managers, user groups, and municipal leaders to all participate. And just to restate, the opportunity here is enormous. If you look at our proximity to both the Rochester and the Buffalo markets, the growing number of millennials that are looking for recreation and seeking out opportunities. We have 70,000 acres of state forest and nature assets. There's almost 1 million people coming to Letchworth Park annually. So the Genesee Valley is a brand. It's a place to go to. It's in addition to going to the Finger Lakes. We were down at Letchworth over the Columbus Day weekend, ran into a lot of people that had come north just to visit the Finger Lakes and said, oh, let's go check out Letchworth Park. And then introducing them to the Genesee Valley and all the rest of what the Valley offers and the trails offer is a really good opportunity. Becoming Trail Town certified through other programs, we said, why don't we work on a program that really exhibits the values of the Genesee Valley. So the Genesee Valley Trail Town program is underway. As we looked at what was going on in the region, this is just a list of all the other things that are currently happening. And these are activities that have been going on for the past year, even before the pandemic, and will continue. There's every stretch, every portion of the Greenway is being touched by one of these projects. In particular, the work that Alta Planning has done, and you may have been participating in those sessions. The Friends Board has submitted comments and feedback and is working collectively with Alta to prepare an action plan. And you can go to GeneseeValleyGreenway.com and check out what that plan has in it. But they highlighted 11 high-ranked projects and initiatives that would bring necessary improvements to the Greenway. And a number of these projects are throughout the Greenway, but a lot of them are in the southern portion. Working together with our partners, we were able to develop a program of applying for grants. Letchworth Gateway Villages provided technical expertise and submitted grants to USDA and the Northern Border Regional Commission. We found that with our municipal partners through the Letchworth Gateway Villages, as well as the Friends of the Genesee Valley Greenway, we were able to leverage sponsorship and in-kind services and matching grants. And we have now over $300,000 in funding that has been provided because of our relationship and our partnerships to advance a Trail Town program. And there's more to come. There's certainly more discussion and more interest with other partners who are looking to participate in the energy that's been put into this program. In particular, at the top there, I mentioned the CFGB is the Community Fund of Greater Buffalo. They heard of our need in Cuba, and in some of our preliminary meetings back in 2019 was around the fact that there's a lot of development needed in Cuba to finish sections of the trail. And so $42,000 was provided to the Friends for the Cuba gap study and trail improvements. Over to the right is a graphic of the Genesee Valley Greenway, and it cuts off at the bottom, but you'll see we identify gateways and trailheads and access points that each are components of a active Trail Town program. And beyond that, we'll be expanding this to other communities in the Genesee Valley. So we would have these updates provided to the board. I took the logo and added a green bar in there to represent that it's a greenway and a blue way. And we'll be working on some new branding and some signage coming up. But we prioritized the trail in 3 different areas, priority 1 being the south. And the map that's on the right is actually the map that's available on the Friends of the Genesee Valley Greenway website. There'll be a new map that's the brochure version that'll be published. But from this map, you can see in green are the active open sections of the trail, but there's a number of portions here shown in yellow and red, I believe, that are in need of they're the bypasses to certain areas in need of improvement. And so we saw the south being an area that really needed some attention and some elevating these projects, and we expect to see some improvements being made to those areas. But we really also saw that there's some themes that develop. We talked about like-minded and common characteristics within a region, things that bind us together. In the south, you have the lakes in Allegheny County, you have Amish country. There isn't a time when you travel through this area that you don't run across a horse and buggy or a farmer's market. These are things that have a lot of value to the character of the community, open farmland, and then the woods and the forests and the state lands that are available. And then you get to Belfast, Canada, work your way north, and you find the fact that we are co-aligned with the River Wilds locations, parks, the pocket parks they developed. And there are a number of bed and breakfasts and camping facilities and restaurants, but through the pandemic, it's been extremely challenging for many of these businesses to stay viable. And so we're hoping that some of the work that we do will help to prop up and support these businesses. The second area of priority for us is the central area. So you've got the Grand Canyon of the East, Letchworth State Park. You've got Silver Lake, and there's been work on some trail network, trail construction work in Perry, eventually to connect Perry to the Greenway. It's been said we like to consider the Greenway as a corridor and a trunk with numbers of branches connecting to other communities and bringing these communities together. Genesee is another example. And we see our proximity to the interstate highway system. So Mount Morris and Cuba in the south, and then Rochester in the north, is you've got quick access to interstate highway systems that brings traveling public. So envisioning signage at 390, not just Letchworth Park, but Genesee Valley Greenway and Genesee Valley Greenway Trail Towns being promoted should bring some attention to our area. You've got the gateway villages around the north part of Letchworth Park. And then one interesting feature of the area north of Genesee are all the Genesee oaks. And you can see the oaks all the way along the Greenway up through to Scottsville. The northern section is our third area of priority. Again, you've got water and trail amenities that co-align. You've got some connections now between the trail and other communities like Avon and Rush. You've got downtown Scottsville, and then you've got some areas in Shiloh as you work your way to the Empire State Trail at Genesee Valley Park. So by inventorying all these locations and looking at the unique aspects of each and the common thread there, it is the Genesee Valley. I'll just go over a couple things. So our committee has been very active. We haven't been as active in the last year because we've been participating in the READY initiative. But early on, we spent a lot of time, and Christine and I went out to Belfast, not during the winter as this picture shows, but we went out earlier in the summer and met with community members. And this is the only remaining structure from the canal days. And interesting history here with this structure. Some of you may know this as the warehouse. But we were trying to do some research early on, because what we want to try to do is establish, what is the value proposition for a community? Why would they be interested in the trail, and how would they engage with the trail? Belfast happens to be a community that had 3 separate rail lines that ran through the town. Prior to that, the canal ran through the town. Between the river and the canal, between lumbering and other industries that started in the early days, there's a reason why the community is there, and there's a reason why the transportation corridors are there. Can we translate the past to the future and anticipate multiple people hiking, biking, snowmobiling, on their horses, utilizing the trail corridors that we are maintaining and building, and to take advantage of the town? And can the town and the trail work together in a collective way to generate some economic development and opportunity within the community towards supporting the recreational theme that exists within the Genesee Valley? This is just a snapshot of some of the possibilities that exist when you start looking at what is in the area and the different trail corridors that are here. You've got the snowmobile trail that comes into Belfast. You've got the potential for a connector to the WAG trail towards Wellsville in the south. There's a lot of publicly owned land that may be useful for trail camping, and we could do a canal boat display. We could, using the water that's next to the Greenway. We've got the warehouse. We could put some parking and redevelop that location. And we found out that through talking with the local community that there's a large parcel of land that the Greenway owns that was a former depot and could be a parking lot, maybe a comfort station. But most importantly here is we want to make a connection to the right. We want to move into the community. And as people come to Belfast, we don't want them to bypass Belfast. We want them to spend hours engaging in Belfast. And you'll find things such as the Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame, which I didn't know existed. But it's a very interesting feature of the community. And they've got a beautiful historic Main Street. And I can envision, and I know the local community envisions, more active commercial activities and opportunities there, such as coffee shops and cafes and restaurants and lodging opportunities. Cuba is another example. We spent quite a bit of time on the road visiting the folks in Cuba. And we, in particular there, recognized early on that the original canal corridor still exists in the village, but much of it is just overtaken by green, and it's either vacant or it's unused. In green from the right to the left that follows Route 305 to the north, the Greenway is currently a bypass. There is no connection to the Bull Street gazebo and the 1.5 miles of trail that was built a few years ago, leaving the town going towards Hinsdale. But this existing corridor is still in place. And we were able to put together enough information to apply for a grant intended to develop what we call a gateway. One of the primary features of a trail town is a gateway structure that features the Greenway, highlights the Greenway, brings attention to the Greenway, and also is just a point of pride for the community. Cuba has done extremely good work. Its historical groups, the Friends of Architecture, and the people that we've met have just been so gracious in helping us understand and see the opportunities here. And this $42,000 grant is going to result in some improvements and some signage and some other things related to tying the school into the Greenway. The high school on the north side of I-86, one of the priorities that was discussed was how do we get the high school to have a connection to the trail. There's two corridors presently that the school sits between, getting out to the Route 305, but also improving the Greenway in the process. But having the safe route to school is another opportunity that can help to bring some economic interest to the project. And then Alta also focused on this. And as you saw, for those that attended the public information sessions, using that same location at the corner of Water Street and Genesee Street, putting a gateway facility in there with parking and highlighting the community. It's right off of 86, and it's a great place from Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Erie, Pennsylvania, to start your version of your recreation experience in the Genesee Valley as you connect from here to Letchworth Park and perhaps all the way to the north. So the next steps for Cuba, the team is being assembled right now. Michael Doyle, Steve Raub, and a lot of community interest here in getting together and working on coming up with some designs for what the gateway could look like, completing a routing feasibility study and a plan. And ultimately, our goal is to charter this organization with set goals and a minimum bar to reach, and hopefully a high bar towards certifying them as a trail town. And these are some ideas that come up with the idea for a gateway possibly. These are this Erie one, the Erie Canal at Canastota. That's an example. They're a trail town on the old Erie Canal, and this is a similar example to Cuba, where they've got a parking lot and a gateway right on a former portion of the canal itself, and they've got kiosks and signage and wayfinding. But it's also the connection to the business community that's very important for any of these projects. So how can you help us? You'll hear some more shortly here. Nicole's going to be getting into some more details on how we're planning to invest that $300,000 to pull together the program. But we are going to need some Trail Town ambassadors. If you're encouraged and excited by what you saw here and the potential for improvements along the trail, reach out to us. Let us know that you have an interest in helping. There's a lot of work to do, a lot of on-the-ground work to do, and there's a lot to do for a few people. But share your trail stories and favorite itineraries. Go to the Facebook page for Friends of the Genesee Valley Greenway and post pictures. I've enjoyed doing that and seeing the response from my neighbors and friends who go, where is that? I didn't realize that Letchworth Park had the Greenway and that you can see the falls from the Greenway. I was like, absolutely. Like, there are places along the Greenway that you've got to go out and explore. The other is exploregeneseevalley.com. If you haven't been to that site yet, it's the beginning of the mapping program that Nicole's going to share with you. And also sponsorship. For those that receive the reminder to send in their membership, including me, consider throwing a few more dollars in that check. Anything that comes into the Friends is being leveraged, and a small contribution allows us to pursue large grants. As you saw in that one of the earlier slides, the $300,000 that was received, it was there because 10% was able to be generated from the local community as a match. So if you're able to provide some funds or be interested in some fundraising activities, we certainly would look forward to your help in that area.
Okay, is that it?
That's it for me.
Okay,
I'm gonna
so
transition over to Nicole.
we can have, you want to go with Nicole? You want to have questions first?
Let's go with Nicole and then we'll take some questions.